So I want to start off by wishing everybody that watches the channel a massive Merry Christmas. Now in this video, as normal, I kind of planned to do a video. I had a thought of what I wanted to do, and it's changed. At the moment, it seems to be that's what's happening. I start planning a video and then it turns into something completely different. But I will get back to that at the end of the video. So stay tuned to the end of the video because I do have an announcement and it's pretty big. So the plan for this video was to be like a bloopers video because I make so many mistakes in these videos, it's ridiculous. I've got so much material where I forget my lines or I kind of forget what I'm doing or I drop the camera and things like that. So I may put that in at the end still, just a few of them, but this isn't going to be a video dedicated to that. What I do want to go through is a look back at 2023, what has been happening in this year, what have I been doing, and what you've seen on the channel. And then I'm going to look forward to 2024, and that's where my announcement comes in, what is going to happen in 2024. So stay tuned to the end, do not miss it. But right now, we're going to start looking back at what we've been doing in this channel, and we're going to start off with the star of the show, Alice. So here she is behind me, as I say, the star of the show. I don't really add much if she's not in the show. So now I've done more to Alice this year than I'd actually planned I was going to do. Some things I planned to do more of and some things I didn't, and some things just happened to be more of, but there you go. That's what it's all about building a car, isn't it? That sometimes things don't go according to plan, and that seems to be my 2023, to be honest. Things don't go according to plan. But at the beginning of the year, I had a trip off to Colin, and we bought this amazing radiator for the car. It is absolutely beautiful. Everybody that's seen it so far has just been amazed by it. So if you want to get a radiator for your car, I highly recommend Colin. In fact, he's probably the only person to go and buy a radiator from if you want one from Mark 1 Zetec or even a Mark 2 Zetec conversion. They are amazing. But right back in January, February time, I was building my carbs. I'd got the inlet manifold all set up. I'd built all of that. I was getting ready to build the exhaust. And then I found out my plans have to change, which is, like I say, how 2023 seems to have turned out this year. So I had to change my plans. And the reason for that, as I've explained in previous videos, is the Swedish government. The Swedish government says I have to take the engine as a complete package, which means the injection, the engine, the catalytic converters, lambda sensor, ECU, everything. I can't fit carbs. So that means getting rid of the carbs. So that left me in a bit of a problem. What do I do now? How do I solve this problem? Turned out it wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be. A trip to the local scrapyard, and I got all the parts I needed for it. So as you can see here, all the parts have been fitted. Everything, as usual, got powder coated. I built my own powder coating oven, so everything's getting powder coated. That's just how it is. So as you can see, the injection system, it all fitted. It's come off of a Zetec Escort, so everything just bolted straight back on again. Not a problem. So then I'd start with the wiring. Now the wiring was an absolute nightmare. And basically, I did actually cut the wiring loom at the scrapyard, which I later found out was a bad idea. So I had to join all the cables back up again, which means I had a spaghetti of cables to sort out. So we've got all that together, we got the injection together, and then it was getting towards summer. So I had a deadline, and I set myself a deadline, which was to get Alice here to her first car show. And that was a car show that I wanted to go to because it's quite near here, and it's a car show that I've been to for many, many years. But Alice has never been to that car show, and it's the Keytown meet. So I've actually filmed this a few times, and I will come back to it a little bit later. But that was the plan. I set myself a deadline. Get to the Keytown meet. A few things had to be done for that, and that meant putting the injection system together, getting the fuel system together, getting the pump sorted out, getting the exhaust made and fitted to the bottom of the car. And while I was making the exhaust, I happened to remove the rear axle and I painted the underneath of the car, which I think absolutely fits the car now. It's a slightly brighter orange than Alice, but I think it just looks the part underneath that car. So I'm quite happy with that. The rear axle all nicely painted. Anything that I could take off got powder coated and put back together again. And the underside of the car now looks as good as the bodywork on top of the car. So I set myself the deadline, go to the car show. And one of the major steps just before the show was that I actually got the engine running, which was an amazing thing. It sounded, well, it didn't sound fantastic. It sounded okay. The engine ran and it sounded okay. As you can hear in the video, it does sound a bit tappety. But that's not a huge problem, I thought. I'll just get the tappets set. So Friday evening, I took the camshafts out and I was ready to set the timing on the car. And that's when disaster struck. And I put the camshafts in upside down without realising, snapped the camshaft. And it was a major disaster. So that was the Friday evening and the car show on the Saturday, which meant she wasn't going to a car show. She didn't make it to the first car show of the year. But Monday, I was able to go to the scrapyard and I did manage to find another Zetec engine with the correct camshaft. So Monday, I got the new camshafts in and the engine started up and fired again. So I took it for its first drive and it broke down. It broke down straight away. What I thought the problem was the fuel pumps were broken, so new fuel pumps were ordered. And it wasn't that. It turned out I'd put an earth in the wrong place and that killed the pumps. With the engine then running, it meant that I could now book it in for its test. Now this is what we call an SFRU test, which is basically an inspection to make sure this car is road legal. So I had Gustav here and we were here a few hours and went through this car with pretty much a fine-tooth comb. It's not been for its MOT yet. Obviously, as I said, it's in the middle of winter right now. I do have winter tyres for Alice, but I'm just not bothering putting them on right now. She needs to get everything else done, ready for the test. But as soon as that horrible white snow disappears, she will be going for an MOT. I promise you. And there's a good reason for that coming up shortly. So that brings me to pretty much where I am right now with Alice. She's still sat here. She's pretty dusty, I'm afraid. And yeah, I do need to get back onto her. And I definitely will be getting back onto her after the new year. And there will be videos, there will be content coming up on this because, like I say, I've got something planned for her. So I did get her out, I did get her to some car shows, I did get some miles on her. After then, she's been stood. And that's because somebody else came into the picture. Yeah, this little red one. Sometimes things like that come up and you can't really do anything about it. So I went off to buy the car. A beautiful, beautiful location, as you can see on these videos here. I bought the car. She wasn't in fantastic condition. Bodywork needed doing. So she didn't run. I went to winch her up onto the trailer. But once that was done, I could get her here, get her into the workshop. Didn't take long, and I found the problem. The problem was a simple crankshaft sensor. So with the crankshaft sensor changed, the engine then started. So after that, it was pretty much mechanical work on this car to get her running. So she's now running, driving, all the mechanical work is done to it, but then I had to address the bodywork. Again, things didn't quite go according to plan. I was planning to take it to a body shop and get it properly painted. That didn't turn out. So she got a workshop paint instead, but she got painted and she does look pretty good, to be quite honest. She does look good. So with that done, as you will have seen a couple of days ago, she did go for an MOT and she did pass the MOT. So that is the first MOT since 2019 for this car. She also got cleaned on the inside of the car from Probilvård and it looks amazing. It still smells absolutely brilliant in there. I like to go and sit in the car every so often. Perhaps I shouldn't say that, but I do like to go and sit in the car every so often and smell it because it does smell so nice. So now the plan for this. Well, she needs to be sold, obviously. So that's the plan now in the very, very near future, is to get this car sold. And somebody is going to buy an absolutely beautiful little car. So that's a quick rundown of what I've been doing through 2023. So if there's anything that you've particularly enjoyed, put a comment down below, let me know what you think, and I'll try and get some more of that in next year. Right, so I've been hinting at this announcement now, and here it comes. This is the big announcement that I'm talking about. So while in England, I did get to go to the Ford show at Silverstone, something I have never ever been to before. I was not expecting there to be that many cars. It absolutely amazed me. So the Ford Fair this year is the 11th of August, and it's going to be an amazing thing. So I know that Ford Fair have already started to put in things out on Facebook about cars coming to the show and things like that. So I did mention in a page at some point that it would be nice to go with Alice one day, you know, show her off and that. But I live right up here in the top of Sweden, so we're right below the polar circle. So it's a long drive. It's going to cost a lot of money to do it, and it takes a long time. So it's a shame, but it would be nice to go to the Ford Fair. But I did get thinking, it would be nice to go to the Ford Fair. And it would be nice to go to the Ford Fair with Alice. So the plan is to go to the Ford Fair with Alice. Now, like I say, it is a long journey. This journey starts up right up in the top of Sweden. It goes through 4 separate countries on the way to England. The journey is 4 days long. Now, you can obviously do the journey shorter, but you know, you're pretty much driving 24/7 in that case. So the first day and a half, nearly 2 days, will get me to the end of Sweden. Now that just kind of gives you a scale of how big and long Sweden is. It's going to take at least a day and a half to drive all the way down to the bottom of Sweden. I've then got another day and a half or so of driving through Denmark, Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands, France, and eventually into England. But my plan is to be there at the Ford Fair on the 11th of August this year with Alice. So I've started planning this together with Mrs. the mechanic. So obviously we can take turns in driving. Now this journey is not for the faint-hearted. It's not really for me, to be quite honest, but there you go. It's going to take, like I say, 4 days. It is also 1,800 miles. It is a ridiculous amount of miles. And the Ford show is 1 day. So it's 4 days of driving for a 1-day show. So this is obviously going to be an expensive trip. So I've already kind of worked out a budget so far. Half of the budget is fuel. It's a long way to drive, so half the budget is fuel. Then there's other costs like accommodation for the 4 days and the 4 days home again. I need to go through the Channel Tunnel, so that needs to be paid for. There are costs to go over certain bridges and things like that. So what I'm looking for is companies that would like to sponsor this journey. In return for that, obviously, they're going to have their logo on the side of the car. I'm obviously going to document the entire journey, so therefore the sponsors will be seen on the side of the car in all my social media. That's Facebook, Instagram, and obviously YouTube. I am in discussions with hopefully magazines. I'm in discussions with other YouTubers so that the sponsors that are on the car that make this journey possible will get as much advertising as possible. So that's what I'm looking for right now. That is what I'm going to start with after the new year, is trying to find sponsors to help me with this journey and to get this car all the way to England and back again. I need your help in this, guys, and the help that I need is for people to get the word out. Get the word out that I will be coming over with Alice. She will be at the Ford Fair on the 11th of August. You will be able to come and see her, but I'll only be able to do that if I get enough sponsors. So make sure you get the word out to anybody, and if you need to contact me, I'll put my email address on the bottom here and you can send me an email about it. So that's it. That is my big announcement. 2024, the first part at least of 2024 is going to be spent fixing this car, getting it through its MOT, making sure it's road legal, and then I'm going to use it. I'm going to probably turn this car into my daily driver to and from work, and I'm going to use it as much as I can. So I get some miles on the car and I make sure that it works. Still got things to do before the MOT, so I've got the exhaust, I've got the battery tray to do, I really need to get some new seats in there because those ones are going to be uncomfortable, and then it needs to go for its final MOT. That is going to be my priority in the next few months, and then after that it's going to be getting this car ready to go on the road for the longest journey probably of its life, and definitely the longest journey I've ever driven. So make sure you press that subscribe button right now so that you don't miss any of the coming videos about getting Alice ready, me driving her, and getting her ready for this epic journey all the way to England and back again in a 1982 Mk1 Ford Fiesta for a one-day show. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be really good fun. I want to now wish everybody a very happy new year. So if you like what we've seen in this episode, press that subscribe button. I'll see you in future episodes. Thanks a lot, and bye-bye. Hi there, guys. Welcome to another episode. So hopefully everybody has had a magical, brilliant Christmas. So my plan with this video to start, and it's a car show that I've been to for many years. It's called, what's that called? But Alice has never been to that car show, and it's the Keytown meet. So I've actually filmed this a few times. So Friday I took the camshams. Oh God. So Friday I took the camshams. Camshams? Why is it called? It's not called a camsham. So Friday evening I took the camshafts out and I was ready. I'm going to go to the Ford Fair with Alex. With Alex? No, not Alex. Alice.